The Dyatlov Pass Companion, the Bermuda Triangle's first confirmed kill. A fishing crew watched 5 aircraft disappear from radar within an hour of each other, over calm seas in clear weather, with every pilot reporting normal conditions right up until the moment their radio signals simply stopped. The search planes sent to find them vanished too. Not one piece of wreckage was ever recovered from any of the 6 aircraft. The US Navy's own official report couldn't explain what happened and quietly admitted it. On December 5, 1945, 5 Grumman Avenger torpedo bombers, collectively known as Flight 19, departed Naval Air Station Fort Lauderdale in Florida on a routine training mission, a straightforward overwater navigation exercise that 14 experienced Navy airmen had completed successfully many times before. The flight was led by Lieutenant Charles Taylor, a combat veteran with extensive flight experience. Though notably, Taylor had only recently transferred to Fort Lauderdale and was flying this specific training route for the first time himself, a detail that would prove significant once radio transmissions from the flight began revealing genuine confusion about their position. Roughly 90 minutes into the flight, ground control at Fort Lauderdale began receiving increasingly concerning radio transmissions from Taylor, who reported that both of his compasses were malfunctioning and that he was uncertain of his exact location, believing the flight had drifted off course. Subsequent transmissions, pieced together from various radio operators who intercepted portions of the exchange, revealed a growing, escalating confusion among the flight crew about which direction would actually lead them back to Florida, with Taylor at one point reportedly insisting the flight was over the Gulf of Mexico when transmission analysis and other evidence suggested they were more likely positioned over the Atlantic east of the Florida coast entirely, a fundamental navigational disagreement that, if Taylor's assessment was genuinely incorrect, would have led the flight to fly in precisely the wrong direction while attempting to return to base. As the confusion continued and fuel supplies dwindled, radio contact grew increasingly fragmented due to worsening atmospheric conditions and the flight's increasing distance from base, until transmissions stopped entirely sometime after 7 o'clock in the evening, several hours after their scheduled return time, by which point the aircraft's fuel supplies would have been entirely exhausted. A search and rescue operation was launched almost immediately, including a Navy PBM Mariner flying boat carrying 13 crew members, dispatched specifically to search for Flight 19. That aircraft itself then vanished as well, with a nearby merchant ship reporting having witnessed what appeared to be a mid-air explosion in the area where the search plane was operating. Consistent with the PBM Mariner's known reputation among Navy personnel for occasional fuel vapor buildup that could ignite under specific conditions, though this remains an inference rather than a confirmed cause, since no wreckage from the search plane was ever definitively recovered either. Despite an extensive, sustained search operation covering hundreds of thousands of square miles of ocean over the following days, involving numerous additional aircraft and surface vessels, absolutely no confirmed wreckage, debris, or remains from any of the 6 lost aircraft or the 27 men aboard them was ever recovered. A genuinely unusual outcome, even accounting for the ocean's vast search area, since aircraft crashes, even at sea, typically leave at least some floating debris, fuel slicks, or other physical evidence within the general search radius. The Navy's official Board of Investigation, convened to formally examine the incident, ultimately attributed the loss primarily to pilot error, specifically Taylor's navigational confusion, compounded by deteriorating weather conditions and Taylor's own established habit, according to testimony from those who had flown with him previously, of occasionally becoming disoriented and stubbornly refusing to defer to alternative navigational suggestions from his more junior flight crew, several of whom had reportedly expressed uncertainty about Taylor's chosen heading during the flight's final radio transmissions. However, the official report's final conclusion included a specific, formally documented phrase that has since become one of the most frequently cited details in the entire case, stating the cause of the loss was essentially unknown, as though the aircraft had simply flown to Mars, an unusually candid admission of genuine investigative uncertainty from an otherwise formal technical Navy report. Flight 19 occurred within the general geographic region later popularized as the Bermuda Triangle, a loosely defined area of the Western Atlantic Ocean between Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico that gained widespread cultural notoriety beginning in the 1950s and 1960s, when writers and researchers began compiling lists of ships and aircraft lost within the region across previous decades, presenting them collectively as evidence of some unexplained, possibly supernatural phenomenon specific to that stretch of ocean. Flight 19 rapidly became, and remains, the single most famous and frequently cited case within this broader body of Bermuda Triangle folklore, largely due to the genuine, well-documented mystery surrounding Taylor's navigational confusion, combined with the Navy's own unusually candid admission of uncertainty in its official report. Modern aviation historians and meteorologists, examining the case with the benefit of significantly improved understanding of regional weather patterns, aircraft mechanical limitations, and Taylor's own documented flight history, generally favor a more conventional, if still genuinely tragic, explanation over any supernatural interpretation, proposing that Taylor's compass malfunction, combined with his mistaken geographic assumptions and his crew's inability to convince him to alter course, most likely led the flight to fly in the wrong direction entirely, out over open ocean rather than back toward Florida, until fuel exhaustion forced a ditching in rough seas at night, conditions under which the World War II-era Avenger aircraft were known to sink rapidly, within 30 seconds to a few minutes according to some technical assessments, potentially explaining the complete absence of recovered wreckage or debris, since a night ditching in rough, choppy Atlantic waters would have provided little opportunity for life rafts or floating debris to remain visible, for search aircraft arriving after daybreak. This more conventional explanation, however statistically reasonable, has never fully displaced the case's enduring association with broader Bermuda Triangle mythology in popular culture, partly because the specific, documented strangeness of Taylor's radio transmissions, combined with the additional unexplained loss of the search plane sent to look for the missing flight, creates a genuinely compounding sense of mystery that a single conventional explanation, however statistically probable, doesn't fully dispel from the case's enduring popular narrative. What makes Flight 19 endure as one of history's most persistently mysterious aviation losses isn't necessarily proof of anything genuinely supernatural occurring within the region later branded the Bermuda Triangle, but the specific, well-documented combination of circumstances involved, an experienced pilot's genuine, escalating confusion, a second aircraft lost during the search itself, and a complete absence of any recovered physical evidence across an extensive search effort. A combination of documented facts unusual enough that even the US Navy's own formal investigators, working directly from primary radio transcripts and witness testimony, ultimately concluded they couldn't offer a fully confident, definitive explanation for exactly what happened to the 27 men who disappeared that December evening. Nearly 80 years later, no wreckage from any of the 6 aircraft has ever been definitively recovered and confirmed, and the specific, documented final words exchanged between Taylor and his flight crew in those final confused radio transmissions remain the last verified evidence anyone has of Flight 19's actual fate, a fate the US Navy's own official investigation, after exhaustive effort, ultimately admitted it could not fully explain. If stories like this, where even a formal government investigation couldn't offer a confident final answer, are exactly what you come here for, subscribe to The Grave Details, because history holds more stories like this than most people will ever know.